and welcome to Quality Assurance Measures Training. In Segment 2, we will be taking a look at Regulation 299-10 regarding quality assurance measures, its vision, the new changes, and what the regulation does to transform the services and supports delivered to persons with a developmental disability. Then, we'll move on and take a look at the definitions and implementations required for all service agencies and application entities. How do the new quality assurance measures differ from the requirements of the Developmental Services Act Regulation 272? The Developmental Services Act, DSA, is 36 years old. The DSA and its regulation were made at a time when services for people with a developmental disability were just beginning to move from a model of institutional care to community living, such as group home settings. Since that time, all of the province's government-operated residential facilities for adults with a developmental disability have closed. The continuum of services and supports for adults in the community has grown, and service agencies take an individualized, community-based approach to supporting people. The Services and Supports to Promote Social Inclusion of Persons with a Developmental Disability Act, 2008, received royal assent on October 8, 2008. As part of the new Act, the Ministry of Community and Social Services developed Ontario Regulation 299-10 regarding quality assurance measures requirements to promote a common understanding for quality services and supports for adults with developmental disability. The regulation will set quality assurance measures for ministry-funded service agencies and application entities that provide services and supports to adults with a developmental disability. Quality assurance measures promote good services and supports. The regulation will promote social inclusion and help us protect people with a developmental disability from serious health and safety problems by clarifying the role of agencies in reporting suspected cases of abuse, clearly outlining requirements for safety around agency-owned and operated buildings, as well as entity-owned and operated buildings, clearly outlining requirements for the use of behavior intervention strategies with people with a developmental disability who also have challenging behaviors. This regulation will help agencies and application entities provide services and supports in a consistent way throughout Ontario. It will also bring greater peace of mind to the families and caregivers of people with a developmental disability. The regulation on quality assurance measures was approved on July 7, 2010, and will come into effect on January 1, 2011 for service agencies. Application entities have not yet been established. The later effective date, July 1, 2011, corresponds with Part 5 of the regulation that is related to application entity functions and will come into effect at that time. Application entities will serve as the regional contact points for ministry-funded adult developmental services and will make sure that everyone who is looking for developmental services gets treated in the same way, and use clear and consistent eligibility criteria and a single standard assessment process. The regional contact points are responsible for the provision of functions to support the provincial application process for those seeking access to ministry-funded adult developmental services within each region, including information provision, eligibility determination, intake support, determination and reassessment of service and support needs, service navigation and matching, and future direct funding agreement administration. The implementation of application entities as the regional contact points are one of the most important parts of our long-term plan for the transformation of the developmental services system and are key to bringing our vision of a more equitable and easily accessed developmental services system to life. Whom does Regulation 299-10 impact? Regulation 299-10 applies to all application entities and ministry-funded developmental service agencies who provide the following services and supports to persons with developmental disabilities. Supported group living residences means a staff-supported residence operated by a service agency in which 3 or more persons with developmental disabilities reside and receive services and supports from the agency. Intensive support residences means a staff-supported residence operated by a service agency in which 1 or 2 persons with developmental disability reside, and in which each resident requires and receives intensive support that meets the prescribed requirements. Community participation services and supports means services and supports to assist a person with a developmental disability with social and recreational activities, work activities, volunteer activities, and such other services and supports as may be prescribed. Activities of daily living services and supports means services and supports to assist a person with a developmental disability with personal hygiene, dressing, grooming, meal preparation, administration of medication, and includes training related to money management, banking, using public transportation, and other life skills, and such other services and supports as may be prescribed. Caregiver respite services and supports means services and supports to assist a person with a developmental disability by a person other than the primary caregiver of the person with a developmental disability, and that are provided for the purpose of providing a temporary relief to the primary caregiver. How will the regulation and compliance procedures impact service agencies and organizations? All service agencies should review current policies and procedures to ensure they reflect the regulation and that the date policies are written, amended, and implemented is documented. Service agencies will review their policies and procedures with its board of directors, staff, and volunteers. Please note that the ministry, as part of its compliance process, will review policies and procedures and look for evidence that they are being applied as written and that all levels of the agency is aware of the policies and procedures. It is required that service agencies obey all laws that apply to the services and supports they provide. This includes federal and provincial laws and municipal bylaws. These requirements are not included in this regulation. It is important to understand the terms and language in the regulation. All policies and procedures are rules service agencies and application entities must follow. Policies and procedures will be in writing, dated, and reflect the service agencies or applicant entities' most current practice. They are usually kept in a book in the agency's office where everyone can read them. They give staff and volunteers information they need to do their jobs. With this regulation, service agencies and application entities have to develop policies and procedures about the quality of their services and supports, and they must follow them. In some cases, the ministry will provide agencies with enough flexibility to develop policies and procedures that best fit their services and supports. In other cases, the ministry will tell agencies what requirements they must meet. The ministry will monitor service agencies and application entities to make sure they are following these rules. The 3 terms used in the regulation are meant to convey 3 different levels of information. For this purpose, orientation, as used in the regulation, means a higher level overview of a subject matter that promotes awareness and understanding. This may be done through an oral presentation, video, or reading materials. This is often the level of information that members of the board of directors need to fulfill their organizational oversight responsibilities. Training, as used in this regulation, refers to a more in-depth and formally structured presentation of materials by a person or persons with recognized expertise in the subject matter, usually based upon a curriculum, and may include testing. Training may occur through a variety of media: educational or class settings, formal in-service training, online courses, etc. This is the level of information and skill set that service agency staff and managers need in their service delivery capacity. Education, as used in this regulation, refers to a less formal and structured presentation of materials with the intention of raising awareness. It refers to an information level and a media that is appropriate to people who have a developmental disability and are receiving services and supports from a service agency. Media may include oral presentations, role-playing, posters, etc. The Developmental Services, DS, Compliance Review is a systematic inspection process available in both French and English. It is undertaken by the Ministry of Community and Social Services, MCSS. The review measures compliance against the quality assurance measures requirements under the regulation and determines if a standard level of quality care and safety is being provided to persons with a developmental disability. Although the new standards will be looked at by the Ministry's Compliance Review Team during each service agency's compliance review, the review process will remain in its current form. A copy of the new compliance form, which provides the quality assurance measures requirements and their corresponding indicators, can be found on the web portal. Thank you.